everybody, we're going to go ahead and correct those worksheets that were assigned on Monday because they're due today on Wednesday. So if you haven't already submitted those, they're already late. But that's okay, because late is better than never. Here are the two assignments. You've got area of fractions and fractions of other areas. Let's look at this one first. All right, now when I first printed this out, all of those grid lines weren't there. So if you tried to print it out and those grid lines weren't there, I understand the problems that you ran into. I solved that problem by going back into my printer settings and setting it to print in black and white. When it tried to print in color, it didn't show up in black and white. Look, there are grid lines. I talked to somebody who said they had to draw the grid lines in with a ruler. What a drag that is. Super hard to do without those grid lines. For this one, you're supposed to shade in the part of the rectangle that matches the green region on marker 2. This was the green region on marker 2. I should make it green. Shade in the part of the rectangle to match the green region on marker 2. We actually did this one together when we outlined how to do the assignment when it was rolled out on Monday. Write at least two fractions to show what fraction of the whole is represented by the shaded region. So we need two fractions that represent this. How many squares are there all together is one of the things you need to know to figure that out. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have a 4 by 6 shape there. 4 by 6 is 24 square units. So for both of these, we're going to make our denominators, well, for this one, we're going to make our denominator 24 because there's 24 squares. How many are shaded? 4 of them are. We've got 4 out of 24. But I need to show two fractions. So for us to do this, we're going to have to find an equivalent fraction. Now, when we look for an equivalent fraction on this one, we could go for multiplying it by any number. As long as we multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number, we will always find an equivalent fraction. But we're going to simplify the fraction. Simplify. This means that we're going to use division instead. So we need to know what factor does both 4 and 24 go into. That's pretty easy to figure out. They both go into 2 because they're even numbers. So I can take 4 and 24 and divide both of those numbers. Divide by 2. 4 divided by 2, 24 divided by 2 will give me an equivalent fraction. Just like if I multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number, if I divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number, I will get an equivalent fraction and it will have a lower value, but still be equivalent. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. What's 24 divided by 2? It's 12. But you could have had another equivalent fraction for that one because we can further simplify this because 2 and 12 have other common factors. That common factor is 2. So I can take 2 and divide it by 2 and I get a 1. 12 divided by 2 and I get 6. So 4 24ths is equivalent to 2 12ths, which is also equivalent to 1 6th. You could have gotten from 4 24ths all the way to 1 6th by dividing by 4. 24 divided by 4 equals 6. And 4 divided by 4 equals 1. Shade a fraction in the rectangle that is greater than the fraction from marker number 2. That is super easy. We just got to make it more.
So, the one from marker 2 was a 2 by 2 shape. I'm going to make this one more. Now, your fraction could be anything as long as it shades in more than 4 squares. So what I have is I have a 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 by 4. That's going to be 8 square units. There are 24 altogether. Now I need to write an inequality statement, so I get 8 out of 24. My original was 4 out of 24. We need an inequality statement on this one, so which one is greater, which one is less than? Are they equal? Well, this one is larger, and I know it because I was supposed to write a greater than fraction. If we look at this next one, what I'm supposed to write is a fraction that is less. So it was 4 by 4, so I'm going to make this one a 2 by 1. 2 by 1. What's 2 times 1? Well, it's 2. I get 2 out of 24 altogether. My original was 4 out of 24. We can see 4 out of 24 is larger than 2 out of 24. If we can get both of them in the frame, this one's bigger, there's 4, this one's smaller, there's 2. That is that worksheet.
Now here's this one to look at. Hey, this one, again, if you didn't have the grid lines printed out on it, oh boy, howdy, did you find this to be difficult. Let's look at it. Look at the rectangles and fill in the table below. Find the area for each rectangle outlined and write it in the table. So the area for that one, that one, that one, and that one. We get 3. 3 times 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 times 6 is 18. All right, so we went through and we found the area of each rectangle outlined below and wrote it on the table. We did that. We did it with equations. Ooh. Now we're going to shade in 1/6 of each rectangle. We're going to label each shaded region with the area. So we're going to shade in 1/6. So I'm going to take all of this, and I'm going to split it into 6 equal parts. I'm going to split this into 6 equal parts, this into 6 equal parts, and this into 6 equal parts. Some of these are easy to split into 6 equal parts just by looking at it, like 6 by 6. This is easy to split up into 6 equal parts. I can just split it up the long way. 1, 2 parts, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look, I split that up into 6 parts pretty easily. This one I can also split up into 6 parts pretty easily because it goes 6 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are easy to split up into 6 parts, but these ones are a bit more difficult to do it. So for these ones, I'm going to use division. Because I'm splitting these up into sixths, there's altogether 6 parts. So I'm going to divide the total by 6. So I'm going to take 18, I'm going to divide it by 6. What's 18 divided by 6? Well, it's 3. Here we get the same thing. We do 6 divided by 6. Ooh, that's wrong. 36, because we had 36 total. 36 divided by 6 is going to be 6. Here, I got 12 divided by 6 is 2. And here, I've got 30 divided by 6 equals 5. So for those are 1/6. 1/6 of 18 is 3. 1/6 of 36 is 6. 1/6 of 12 is 2. And 1/6 of 30 is 5. We found 1/6 of each one of these. So we've got to shade that in. So I got to shade in 3 here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I got to figure out what is 5/6 of each one of these rectangles. That's super easy because of the shading that's already been done. So if 1/6 is 3 parts, 5/6 are all these other parts. What we're actually doing is we're taking 1/6 and we're adding it 5 times. We're taking this and we're multiplying it times 5 because we're making 5/6. If 1/6 is 3, then 5/6 is going to be 3. 5 times, it's going to be 15. And we can check that by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Same thing on this one. If 1/6 is 6, then 5/6 is going to be 6 times 5. What is 6 times 5? It's 30. There are 36 altogether. If I take away these 6, I have 30 left over. So what is 5/6 of 36? It's 30. Here we're going to find out what is 5/6 of 12. Well, if 1/6 is 2, I'm going to do 2 5 times, which is 10. I've got 12 here. I take away 1/6, then I've got 5/6 left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. For this one, we're looking at what is 5/6 of 30. Well, if 1/6 is 5, 5/6 is going to be 5 times 5, which is 25. I've got 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6. That's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 altogether. What I really did here was I took 1/6 and I added it 5 times to get to 5/6. Which brings us to this next one. Imagine if you were given a rectangle with the area of 120 square units. If you shaded 1/6 of that rectangle, what would the area of the shaded region be? What would be the area of the shaded region? So I gotta take 120, I gotta split it into sixths. So I'm gonna take 120, I'm gonna divide it by 6, which is kind of a big number, but there's a really wonderful trick to use. I'm gonna ignore that 0. And then I'm gonna do 120 divided by 6. Nope, get rid of that 0. I'm gonna do 12 divided by 6. Hey, that's 2. Take that 0 that I crossed out, add it back on there. What's 120 divided by 6? It's 20. If you shaded 1/6 of the rectangle, what would be the area of the shaded region? Well, it would be 20 square units. What if you shaded 5/6 of the rectangle? What would the area of that shaded region be? Well, if 1/6 was 20 square units, then 5/6 is going to be 20 times 5, 100. Alternatively, I could also take my 120, which is my total, and I could subtract 1/6 from it, because I'm 1/6 away from my total. So if I subtract 1/6, that's 20. 120 minus 20 gets me to 100. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have gone through areas and fractions and numbers and division and all kinds of great stuff. These assignments are due today. If you haven't already submitted them, you should submit them today. A late assignment is better than no assignment. Have a great morning, everybody.